Hi, my name's Larry Zirker, and I'm a welding engineer, and I work for the Idaho National Laboratory in Idaho Falls. We do work on nuclear reactors, and that's why I have a radiant face. And I'm a good friend of Dr. Dave Treasure, and he couldn't come, and so he asked me to substitute. And I go and lecture at his department, and every year a couple of times, and I talk about practical welding metallurgy to his students. And I gave the talk on Monday, and so he asked me to take over and do this for him. And Dr. Treasure is a full colonel in the Army, Reserve, or not, National Guard, and a little short guy, lots of energy, runs marathons with his wife, and he had so much passion. They asked him to do this, and he said, sure, I can do that, and then he backed out. So and I've known him for years, and so I helped him put this together, and so we'll talk about this. The topic is recruiting secondary welding students into his program. He works at the Idaho State University Department of Technology, and they have a terrific welding program. And then he explained it to me how he has gotten this terrific program. And three things. Outreach. Your outreach effort will generally equal your recruitment success. Sustainability in your program is paramount, and new students are the lifeblood to your program. Now, there's some outreach essentials. You have to generate the nice handouts for your program and brochures, develop a program website, and do a little outreach plan. Well, what are we going to do? Are we going to go visit the schools? We're going to go once a year to high schools, twice a year? We're going to go to their job fairs? What are we going to do? You got to plan something that you're going to do. I am sure this is going to go quicker than you thought. Now, he said these are his sources that he has used over the years to go find students for his 2-year program. He says the Future Farmers of America program, the FFA people of the ag programs. In Idaho, we have lots of ag programs. We have lots of agriculture there. He visits the T&I programs at the different schools, Boy Scouts of America, and then while you're at it, it's a religious fervor with him. He would say, when you go meet these FFA teachers and the T&I teachers, when you're walking down the hall, you got to meet every principal, every counselor, every coach, and let them know who you are and what you do. And then also he says you can't pass up meeting parents, and then we got some curriculum options at the back. We'll get into that. Number one, he says, meet the FFA instructors, because welding is a major part of the ag programs. They go to, they have their competitions, they build trailers, they build jack stands, they build things. He says, but they're so, these instructors are talking about weed, feed, and equipment and construction, and then welding is just an aspect of it. He says, you can go in and help them. And I personally, myself, has done that a few times for ag teachers. They call me in, and I demonstrate a little how to weld and a few things, and they love it. And not everybody's going to go off and be a farmer, but you can. This one high school that Bear Lake High School, they've just converted the whole school into funneling students into their program because they know everybody, the coaches and the English teachers. And you make presentations of these students. You provide welding demonstrations, welding contests, bring all the FFA, bring them into the Pocatello of the Idaho State, and they say, we got the welding lab, and they do it every year. And I'll show you some pictures of what they do. In fact, they have I'll wait till we get to that. And he says it's just, and then he says, the instructors are always looking for something. Yes?
The FFA, they're highly organized, they communicate, they do lots of contests, and students join that like crazy, so they're a great pipeline.
It's a great pipeline, and I hope I'm not being boring to you, but that is, because you know it, but that's one of his great, and then he says also, because we're with the university and he has a PhD and they can give him credit when these FFA teachers come, and they need so many job credits. And then I can remember doing this when I was a welder in the oil field years ago. I used to go in and we'd develop lesson plans and give it to the instructors. They were so happy that they had something different that they could use. Number 2, you volunteer to judge. This is you personally, go in and be the judge. And when you're the judge, then you know the students and you say, hey kid, what you doing next year? Come on down to the college. And, well, I've never been to college. Well, where's your dad? Let's talk to your dad. And you get to meet these people, and you got to go out one-on-one. It's just like a religious missionary. You go out and you got to hustle each one and you, as you can. Be a judge, support the programs, help them with old used equipment or people who know that. Invite the students and instructors for a tour and provide lessons in welding. These are what he does. And then the T&I programs, the trade and industry programs, they might have an auto mechanics or some program, and those are good students that you might be able to proselyte and recruit. You meet the good ones and say, well, come on down. It's the same, you do the same basic scenario for these other students or these other teachers. You meet the instructors, you make presentations, provide demonstrations, then you tailor their. Now what he does specifically, he has, and I'll show you in a little while, they call it the Rocky Mountain Shootout. We're on the Rocky Mountains. We can see the Rocky Mountains there. We get snow 6 months, 10 months out of the year, frost. So it's the high country, and they call it the Rocky Mountain Shootout, and they'll have 2 groups of students show up, the T&I students, and then they'll have the ag students, and they have a big cook-off of baked potatoes. Naturally, it's in Idaho. And they'll have cooked chicken or elk or some deer or buffalo or something. And they get the one set of contests for the ag students and another set of contest weld coupons for the T&I students. And they all mix together and they have a great time. They've invited me down a few times. It's really, really quite good. And the parents come, the kids come, the grandparents come. Everybody comes to see it. Many of them have never been on campus, and it's the first time they've been on campus. For the instructors, it's the same thing. You can provide credit, help lesson plans. And then and I've done this before, but he does it also. They go out to the teacher in service that they have twice a year, and they shut down all the schools, and they send them off someplace, and they get a little training. You volunteer to go do the training. You get all the students, all the teachers from all over an area, and then they said, what do you do? Oh, I teach at the college. Oh, well, I got some good students. See, it's such a perfect recruiting situation is if you go and do, let's see if this works, provide instruction at teacher in service conferences. It's really, and I do that for my company. They send me out to do that on energy issues. Now, if you have a career night at the school, set up a booth, make the effort to go, have your brochures, focus on the students. And he says you got to reach out and talk to them. Say, they all like to hunt, seems like. Well, what did you shoot this year? What do you like to fish? Where do you like to go? What rodeo events do you do? Are you on the football team? You know, you got to be a little personal. You got to have some interest in these students. Then they have the Rocky Mountain Shootout, and they provide scholarships and prizes. You know, like here, this kid, this is one of their main students, and he went through their program, and he had this picture of him because he took the boy hunting, and they shot this deer. Well, naturally, he's come through the program because he's got a relationship. That's a pretty nice looking mule deer, don't you think? Now, Boy Scouts, real big thing. They, Mr. Alaska. You didn't see a mule deer, did you? They don't have mule deer in Alaska, do they?
No, blacktail themselves.
So, anyway, but they got caribou. So, anyway, Boy Scouts, great avenue for, been a scouter all my life, worked with the Scouts. You always get a lot of fringe kids that may not fit in all the time, but they sure love Scouts. It's man things to do, man. Merit badges are great. And now they got the new merit badge in welding. It's just going to be issued next month, or it may be issued now. But that will be a killer avenue to recruit students. That's a long distance, but you know, in 4 years you're still going to need students to come in your program. In 4 years you can. You plant the seed and you bring the kids into your college. Well, then it gives them something to think about, a path forward while you're teaching the merit badge. You talk to them about some careers. That's all that merit badges are. If you really think about it, merit badges are a career, pre-career development opportunity. Sorry about the typo. That should be let them weld something. It's tough when you're old and dyslexic. Now, and you get to know the Scout leaders, and they will love you and welcome. I've done that. Every year they ask me to come do something on the Scouts or the Cub Scouts, and if you can do something in welding, that's going to be a great avenue. There's the picture of the merit badge. Doesn't look too bad. All right, now, counselors and the counselors that I talk to, they think, oh, isn't welding dark, dirty, and dangerous? Well, probably used to be a lot more. Can be still, but not as bad as it used to be. And they just need to be enlightened. They need to have a go-to people. If you go to the counselors and say, we got these nice programs. We can take these kids that may not be the 4.0 or the college, the real gun-ho A students. You don't have to worry about those. They're motivated. They probably got 2 parents home helping them. You get a lot of these kids that have a single mom or don't have a dad, don't have a lot of guidance, and you get to know the counselor. The counselor doesn't know what to do with them. Well, let's put them in hands-on trades. They flourish. But unless they know where you are, they have no place to direct them to. And so you got to hustle these, for lack of a better term, be a resource to the counselors, and you got to make everything a public relations event. And you hit the tech day, the tech expos, the career days. Invite the counselors and administrators to your school to see when you have an open house at the college. You invite them down. You might as well invite some of the school board members, principals, and superintendents. In the Idaho area, it's a lot of small schools. They can be your neighbors on the same street because you have 1,200 people in your town, and that's really good because they can grab the people. And don't forget the coaches. They often become your best recruiters. The kid will say, gee, I just don't understand this, but I'd rather be home working on my car. And you say, well, what about some welding? They make some good money. And so anyway, that parents, I've been trying to develop a welding program myself. It's an advanced heavy manufacturing energy sector course where we're going to just teach primarily focused on automated, computerized, mechanized. It's like a 3rd year to a 2-year program, and I've been talking this up and getting a lot of support. And so I talk to parents about it, or I go to these schools and teach and ask the students, and there's not a parent that I have talked to that didn't say, I would like my kid to come to that. And so parents, as you get to parents, especially in a lot of the Idaho areas and probably the rural areas, some of the parents never been to college. This is the first one. You're going to break the cycle. And most parents I find that I've talked to, because I taught high school for 3 years, and I taught at Arizona State, and I taught at Ohio State Welding, and so I'm not totally ignorant about that. You get the parents there, they say, well, they want something better for the kids. That's, give them literature, you help them with the scholarship, financial aid, especially when they go to campus and they've never been there and seen so many kids and seen so many girls. Pretty much, they get lost. You can get somebody a student to either assign a mentor, or you help them get through you got to keep track of all their content. Don't let them fall through the cracks. My last name starts with a Z. I fell through the cracks all my life. I was always last. And that's what you have to do. Oh, start young. Didn't David Tracer have a nice looking boy? He can throw a 300-yard, 300-foot football. He's bigger now. But then one thing is good to do is to reach out, and a little more long-term is to go into the lower grades, STEM. You guys know what STEM is? That's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. That's kind of a big deal in some areas. Yes? Paper. Thank you. Is sometimes we need, since we're in technology, we can go down into the junior highs and the elementary schools and do little tests or do little demonstrations or talk about technology. A welding instructor could easily go down there and talk about metallurgy or metals or something, and or how to join. It would be real easy to go in and do some soldering. You could do that with a little burner and solder pipes together, have kids, and start. Now, start low. I went out and did a little search on STEM, and they did chocolate welding. And I thought, what? And that's exactly what it says. They take chocolate bars and they would make fillet welds and beams out of chocolate bars and melt the chocolate and join it together, and then the kids could eat it. You know that. There's always somebody's always got an angle. Okay, these are some curriculum options that Dr. Tracer used, that he does use, and he thought that this would be good to discuss, but you probably all know this, but a tech prep. What does tech prep mean to somebody? Does anybody know what that means? Yeah, tell me what that means.
My students are eligible for tech prep. What it is sort of high schools partner with a local college, and students can receive dual credit. So my students, I'm basically an adjunct faculty in addition to being a high school teacher, and so they take my welding 1 class and my welding 2 class, and my assignments and projects, etc., are basically aligned to what the college is doing with their 1 and 2 class. And so the kids get 1 high school credit from me, and they get 3 credits from the university, and they get it for $75 as opposed to $800.
Yeah. See that word? Align the high school credits, the programs with the college curriculum in their courses. That's exactly what, and that's what he says he does. And they can enter college as a second semester or 3rd semester student. That's something that's a real good recruiting tool. kids, you can be ahead, you can save some money. Parents love that. And they set up where they can either dual enroll or the tech prep, or they can come in and just challenge the weld test. They can take it and get the same thing. A release time, there's lots of options. Summary, Dave Treasurer told me, he says, and he's got lots of energy, he's kind of ADD. He's always going. He told me he got into welding because when he was in the Nicaragua War about 25, 30 years ago, and he was a soldier, and they took some fire, and the airplane everybody had to jump out, and they got down to the last two guys, and they had one parachute, and the guy says, no, you take it. And he said, why? He said, his other guy says, because I'm a welder, I bought my welding leads, I'll throw them out and I'll get caught on something. Do you really believe that story? I'm sorry. But but he actually used to be in the airplanes and jump out of airplanes, and he would tell me that story. He says, and he had all this energy. He said, you got to win the hearts and minds of the faculty and the staff at all the high schools in your region. Get to know the parents as many as, make it a public relations barrage. He's an Army man. They send in artillery, make a barrage. You got to do a public relations barrage. Have open houses, contests, dinners, whatever you can do. In Idaho, if somebody shoots an elk or they get a buffalo or something, and they invite them in, or they bring their pheasants and they have a cookout and they invite people in. They bring their girlfriends, bring their buddies, and do workshops, in-service training, industry demonstrations. You know, get Millard or Lincoln come in or to do something. They call all the teachers and say, come on in, we're going to have a demo, bring your top students, give them an opportunity to see something, give you an excuse to invite them in, arrange it, pre-arrange the marriage. And then you assist, okay, this is what they have their annual, now what's this? This is his annual Rocky Mountain Shootout. They do it to bring in teachers, students, my dyslexia's getting me. Students, teachers, parents, family, friends, and industry judges. I'll see if I can, this is kind of one of their flyers. They say, springtime's here, it's time for the competition, and you got questions, call us. This instructor's kind of an interesting guy. He's got a big old long ponytail, and the kids love him. And the other two guys are real shortcut, old pipe-fitted welders, but they're young guys, and they're all the best I've ever seen in that environment. Then this is their safety. They send their instructors, this is what you do. There's some scholarships. We have scholarships, and it tells about it. And they tell them when they come. They start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it goes much of the day. And this is their safety requirements, and there they are. There's in the big conference room. Heck, you see little 8-year-old girls, you got parents back here, you got judges. They just bring a whole bunch of people in, and it's really a big deal. There they are without safety glasses hitting on a stamp. But that's the first thing I did. I said, where's the glasses? He said, well, I'm sorry. Anyway, there's our little experiment that they do. They just do a fillet weld on a plate on a pipe. That's one of them. And there they are out there cooking up chicken and potatoes. Basically, that's what they do. They're very successful. And I hope that was a satisfactory explanation on what one very successful program does to reach out and bring in students. Okay, well, thank you. I hope that was satisfactory. I appreciate your time and interest and your input.